Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking about an idea that is going to make all your relationships in life better, and it's going to make you more happy in those relationships. So let's jump into it. It comes from Romans 15 verse 1, and it says, "We who are strong ought to bear with the failings of the weak and not to please ourselves." And the reason this is going to be so important for you is, like I said, it's going to make all your relationships better, and you will see why in a second here. So let's jump in. What does this verse first of all mean though? What does it mean to bear? And so what I have here is this definition. It says to put the weakness of someone else onto ourselves. And so if someone else is weak, if someone else is weak, it means bringing their weakness and making it our weakness so that they're not weak anymore. And weakness just means anything that hinders a person's faith. Our primary call essentially is to take that responsibility for other people's problems and make it our problem. So instead of just seeing them struggle with their thing, we take it on ourselves. How this looks is, number one, the verse says we should not please ourselves, right? And so we should evaluate our lives. Are we living to please ourselves, or are we living to serve God and serve other people around us? Are we living to please God and please other people around us? Because the issue is a lot of people today live to please themselves. So they think, I want to do what I want to do what I enjoy, I want to do what makes me happy, I want to do what feels good for me. And the key word in there is not the thing, it's me, I. And so we're constantly saying, I want this for myself, I want the world for myself, give me everything. And this verse is saying, no, don't do that. Actually, live to please other people. So that's your first step. If you want to apply this verse to your life and make your relationships better, it actually starts before you even do anything. Make a checklist, say, what am I doing in my life that's all about pleasing me? And what am I doing in my life that's all about pleasing God and pleasing the people around me, serving them, loving them, treating them with compassion, and so on. Number two, the thing that comes from this verse directly now that we talked about pleasing people, the thing that comes directly from this verse is we have to have grace for people. So what does it mean exactly when Paul is saying, bear with a different person's weakness, bear with that person's weakness over there? Well, it means when they're weak in your strength, if you're more mature than them, if you're further in your walk of faith, or at least if you think that you are, if you even look at that person and say, yeah, I wouldn't do that, then have grace for them. That's what it means to bear with their weakness. You look at them and say, they're doing the wrong thing. Like, for example, a lot of people right now in the Charlie Kirk thing still are talking about it and saying, like, look at the other side, look how they're treating people, or the other side is look at how they're treating people. And it's like, for Christians, what this actually means for you is how you should be treating people. Is saying, look how much grace I'm gonna have for this person. Well, you don't need to show it, but I'm just saying, look at how much grace you should have for that person. And it's like, look how much God forgave me. And so with his weakness over there, or with her weakness over there, where they are mistaken or they're lost or they're hurting people, bear with their weakness by having grace for them. Where they are struggling, have grace for their struggles. Don't criticize, but meet them with compassion. Number three is, if you are getting quick to anger, it's time to work on yourself. You need to examine where you're at in life, because being quick to anger goes completely against the idea in this verse. You need to examine your heart, because something is wrong in your heart. And yes, there's a righteous anger, but the Bible says God is slow to anger. So even when he's righteously angered, he is slow to get there. And he has so much grace, so much compassion. And the biggest thing is he actually understands people. And I think the problem is, do you actually understand that person you're angry at? Or are you understanding your perspective and putting that on the situation, and then taking it and then using it to justify how you're feeling? So here's an example. Let's say someone is gossiping about you at church, and you are frustrated at them, and like you hear this and like somehow you heard it through the grapevine, and you're thinking, man, like that makes me so angry. What they're doing is so wrong. This is horrible. Like, okay, that's fair. Maybe you might even have righteous anger in some part here. But the thing is, like, just because what they're doing is wrong, it doesn't mean you need to start criticizing and judging. And actually, a Jesus response is probably more to have grace, but also just to be slower to anger. So if your immediate response is not to think about it and process where you're going, and let me actually just say this first. There's no issue with emotions, feeling anger, but it's the idea of, like, when you get angry, when it's more than just the emotion you're feeling. It's like when you become angry and your thoughts start to get angry and you start to get bitter and like irritable, and you're starting to criticize and judge in your mind, and not have that space for having grace for the person. That's the problem. So when that person gossips about you and you learn about it, it's completely slowing down, and it's saying, okay, wait, let me stop for a second and see, before I work myself up here, let me see what other explanations I can give, and let me see what else I can do in this situation. And then if you aren't slow to anger, if it's just not a possibility for you, you got to work on that, and ask God to search your heart and over time transform that and teach you how to be slower to anger. So like I said at the beginning, this will also impact your relationships. It will make everyone around you more comfortable. It will make all the relationships more real and authentic, and you will also be able to just hear people better. You will get more out of your relationships, and other people around you will get more out of the relationship with you. So try these things, and if you can't do them, pray and ask God, because they're so important. They literally will make every relationship just better for you, including your relationship with God too. If you're slow to anger with God, and if you have grace with God, and if you're overly concerned with pleasing God instead of yourself, that relationship dynamic will improve too. So I hope you can try these things this week, and I hope these make sense because they really are helpful. So try them and let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video.